You know something big is happening when a fifth-round rookie walks into an NFL training camp and completely flips the quarterback room upside down. Not with hype, not with off-field drama, but with cold, hard performance, precision, leadership, swagger, but the earned kind. And that's exactly what's going down in Berea, Ohio, where Shedeur Sanders just stunned the entire Cleveland Browns organization with a training camp performance that left fans chanting his name, teammates nodding in respect, and coaches suddenly very, very quiet. If you're into the real story and all the messy twists they don't show on highlight reels, go ahead and subscribe. And if you're sticking around to see how this Browns QB chaos plays out, you should definitely be subscribed. Let's set the stage. Coming into camp, Shedeur was listed as QB4. On paper, he was behind veteran Joe Flacco, second-year hopeful Kenny Pickett, and high-profile rookie Dillon Gabriel. The expectation? That Shedeur would get a few garbage time snaps, learn the ropes quietly, maybe run scout team duties, and fade into background while the real competition played out. That was the plan. But then day one happened. And that plan? Out the window. From the very first series, it was clear Shedeur wasn't playing script. He wasn't wide-eyed. He wasn't overwhelmed. He was ready, calm in the pocket, crisp footwork, on-time throws, and more than anything, command. The kind of presence that makes people turn their heads, not just because of the ball placement, but because of the confidence behind it. It wasn't just clean play. It was quarterback play, grown man play, the kind that screams, "I'm not here to learn. I'm here to compete." And compete he did. While Gabriel was hesitating on reads, stalling through progressions and floating balls into coverage, Shedeur was slicing through drills like a surgeon. Short outs, deep comebacks, slants in traffic. Nothing looked too big for him. The rhythm was there, the timing, the efficiency. Even when receivers ran sloppy routes, he adjusted. He was coaching guys mid-drill, correcting alignments, encouraging rookies who looked rattled. Leadership front and center. And guess what? People noticed. Fast. Fans who showed up expecting to get a glimpse of the Browns' so-called QB future ended up shouting one name. Shedeur! Shedeur! Over and over. You could hear it ripple from the bleachers during 7 on 7S. And the players? Same deal. By the end of the session, receivers were gravitating toward him. A couple of offensive linemen made sure to dap him up. Even defenders, guys who never give rookies flowers, acknowledge him on the way off the field. That's not normal. That's the kind of energy you only get when someone's doing something undeniable. But here's where it gets tricky. Despite that performance, despite the clear gap between what Shedeur did and what the others didn't, the team's coaching staff stayed on message. Gabriel was still being talked up as the long-term project. Media questions about Shedeur were brushed off. Coaches mentioned rotations in early stages. Standard boilerplate. Translation? They weren't ready to admit it yet. That this fifth rounder, might be the best quarterback on the field. And to be fair, we've seen this movie before. NFL franchises are notoriously slow to pivot, especially when they've already invested in a guy like Gabriel, a higher draft pick, a front office favorite, the scheme fit. They don't like admitting when the guy they didn't plan on starts outperforming the guy they bet on. But performance doesn't lie, and neither does the tape. If you watched the drills, you saw the difference. Shedeur was making throws before receivers broke. He was anticipating windows. Gabriel, meanwhile, was still waiting for guys to come open. There's no contest between those two skill sets. One belongs in the NFL. The other needs more seasoning. That contrast isn't just frustrating, it's illuminating, because it reveals a deeper tension in how NFL teams handle young quarterbacks. It's not always about who plays best. Sometimes it's about who is supposed to play best. And that's a dangerous game. You start making decisions based on pride, not performance. And suddenly you're wasting time, wasting reps, risking the locker room. Because here's the thing, players always know. They see every throw. They feel every huddle. They know who they trust on third down, who brings juice to the huddle, and who they believe can win a game. And if coaches keep ignoring that in favor of protecting their draft board, That trust starts to erode. That's what's at stake here. Not just a quarterback competition. A culture. Shedeur isn't just some media darling or highlight machine. He's putting in the work. He's already building chemistry. He's already earning trust. And off the field, even better. The guy's been everywhere, at local schools, charity events, team outings. He's not showing up for photo ops. He's showing up because leadership doesn't clock out when practice ends. Ask anyone who's worked with him, and they'll tell you, this isn't just a young man with a cannon arm. This is a guy who gets it, who understands that being a franchise quarterback isn't just about X's and O's. It's about accountability, poise, showing up every day like you belong, even if the nameplate on your locker says QB4. So how long can the Browns ignore it? That's the question fans are already asking. And not just fans. Beat reporters are catching on. Players are talking. There's a buzz now. The kind of buzz that can't be PR managed away. Every throw Shedeur makes from this point on is going to be under a microscope. Not because he's struggling, but because everyone wants to know how long it takes the team to admit what's happening. And that's a dangerous spot for the front office to be in, because the longer they delay the inevitable, the more it starts to look political, like they're protecting their draft investment, like they're clinging to the plan. But football doesn't care about plans. It cares about execution. And right now, Shedeur is executing. To ignore that, to keep pushing a narrative that doesn't match what people are seeing with their own eyes, that's how you start losing the locker room. That's how you alienate fans. That's how you create quarterback controversies that spiral into full-blown distractions. And if there's one thing Cleveland doesn't need, it's more quarterback drama. They've already been down that road too many times. Names come and go. Promises are made, broken, and forgotten. But what makes Shedeur different is that he isn't asking for a crown. He's earning one throw at a time, one rep at a time, one teammate at a time. That's how you build a foundation that lasts. And that's what he's doing. So what comes next? It's already starting. More reps with the twos. A longer look in red zone drills. Maybe a surprise appearance in the first preseason game. Once that door opens even cracked, Shedeur's walking through it. He's not the type to let a moment pass. He prepares too hard. He studies too much. He leads too naturally. The Browns are sitting on something big. The kind of potential that doesn't come around often, and definitely not in the 5th round. The only question is whether they'll see it in time, or if they'll cling to a script that's already being rewritten in real time. Because if Shedeur Sanders can stun a stadium with a single practice, imagine what he can do when the lights come on. Cleveland, take notice. Your quarterback of the future might already be here. You just have to look past the depth chart. And if the Browns don't act soon, someone else will. Because here's the quiet truth that lives underneath every NFL preseason. If a franchise undervalues a player, especially a quarterback, there are 31 other teams watching. Scouts take notes. Coaches text each other. Personnel execs pay attention to buzz around the league, especially when a so-called depth guy is outperforming the presumed starters. And with the kind of camp Shedeur Sanders is having, that buzz is getting louder by the day. Imagine the scenario. The Browns try to stash him, to develop him slowly, to keep the narrative controlled. They limit his reps, ride with Gabriel or Flacco longer than they should, and figure they'll give Shedeur a shot in a year or two, if he's still around. But talent like this doesn't stay buried for long. Teams get desperate. Injuries happen. Phone calls are made. And all it takes is one. One call, one opportunity, one moment. For someone to steal a future franchise QB right out from under Cleveland's nose. And if that happens, if they lose him because they couldn't see what was right in front of them, that's the kind of miss that haunts a front office. This is a franchise that has already weathered its fair share of quarterback disasters. Misfires, false starts, overhyped signings. Quarterbacks who looked great in March but fell apart by October. The fan base has lived through it all. High picks that busted, journeymen who flamed out, and drama that never seemed to end. And now, finally, they might have something real, something special. A player who doesn't just want the job, but is ready for it, who lives for it. And the irony? He was never supposed to be the guy. Not according to draft experts. Not according to depth charts. Not according to the plan. But football doesn't care about the plan. Football cares about who shows up. And Shedeur Sanders? He's showing up. It's the consistency that's making the difference. Anyone can flash once, have a lucky throw, make a splashy highlight. But what Shedeur is doing day in, day out is proving that he's not here for a moment. He's here for the long haul. He's taking every rep seriously, staying after practice, communicating with coaches, bringing guys together for walkthroughs. He's operating like a starting quarterback before he's been given the title. That kind of behavior doesn't go unnoticed. And let's not gloss over how rare this is. The combination of athletic ability, leadership, intelligence, and humility, especially in a rookie, is not something you see often. Most young quarterbacks struggle to balance their responsibilities. Some lean too hard into the athleticism and ignore the mental aspect. Others overthink every read,